Now then, folks, how are you doing? It's James, JT at the movies, and I'm back with you for everything that I picked up largely in the month of February. There is one pickup from today, the 3rd of March, as of shooting this video, and a couple of stragglers left over from January. If you remember my December update, I ended up filming it quite late after the new year and ended up showing you most of what I picked up in January. So really there was no point in showing you the rest of what I picked up in January. We'd have been here for 2 minutes. I'd have shown you a couple of things. So I thought, well, I'll hang fire and we'll do a big update in February. So it's mostly Blu-rays. There's a handful of DVDs and there's even some 4Ks this time as well. So we've got a whole host of all sorts going on. Now, I don't think, looking at this pile, that I've actually picked up anything boutique this month either. So it looks to be just standard titles across the board. So as always, we'll start with DVDs. The first one I picked up, I know this was one of the January pickups, and I think there is a Blu-ray of this, but I'm not bothered about having it. It was just one that I wanted to revisit from childhood. It was 30p, and it is the original Transformers the movie, the animated cartoon. The next one was actually one that I got over Christmas and forgot to show you in the last update, so this would have been one of the ones from January as well, and it's Halle Berry in Never Let Go. The next one to show you is one that I thought I had, and then I checked the list, as it were, and I didn't have it. So it's Steven Spielberg presenting Matthew Robbins, Batteries Not Included. Don't know if I've ever seen that one, but it's ringing some bells. My mother-in-law gave me this one. She's a teacher, and it's one that she had in her classroom, and I'd never seen it, never heard of it before, but the blurb on the back sold me. So I'm going to give it a go, and if I don't like it, then I'm going to give it back to her. It's basically what we've agreed, but it is Oh, What a Lovely War. So I'm going to show you two films that are connected. I've seen the first one, I've yet to see the second one. And I'm going to talk about this one a little bit more in a video series that I'm planning on doing on the channel, where I'm talking more about what I've been watching. I want to shoot an episode for January and for February as well. I've just not had 2 minutes to do them, so it's going to be this week's job to do that. But anyway, this is one of the best films that I've seen in a very long time, in terms of the story and how much it held my interest throughout, and the dialogue and the themes throughout it. And now it's a bit of a B-movie based on an old sort of story from the, I believe, the 50s, but it is Man from Earth, and it's a bottle movie. And what I mean by that, for anybody who's not familiar with the term, is it takes place in one location, and it's a group of characters all sat round in armchairs talking, and the central plot point is that one of this group of friends confides in his other group of friends, they're all academics, that he's actually been alive for 14,000 years and lived through some of the greatest moments of history. And of course they don't believe him, and then they sort of all go on this sort of journey, if you like, together. And honestly, it was superb, absolutely tremendous. So fresh off the back of Man from Earth, I bought the sequel. I've yet to watch it. This is Man from Earth Holocene. Now, 3 of the original cast, and I would say probably the 3 most prominent people from the original cast, come back for this. But apart from that, it's a whole new, it's a whole new cast of characters, and it picks up with the main character, the 14,000-year-old man, or so he claims to be, about 10 years into his future. As I understand it, this was sort of like, I believe, like crowdfunded, and I think they did like a GoFundMe or something like that for it, and they tried to get sort of backing to turn it into a TV series, like the Continued Adventures. Apparently this isn't very good, and sort of takes a little bit away from what the original sort of did, but I enjoyed the original so much that I need to check this out just to say that I've seen it. As you can see, it's a German import. We haven't got this one over here in the UK, but this was £5 on Amazon Germany, and I'm more than happy to take the punt, because as I enjoyed the first one so much, I'm sure I'll get something out of this. And then the last DVD to show you is the reissue that 88 Films have done. Now, I could have gone for the Blu-ray, and I nearly did, but I haven't seen this film since I was a kid. It's still a remastered DVD, and I figure I'm probably going to watch this once, and then it's going to sit on the shelf for years before I want to watch it again. So spending £25 on the special edition DVD, Blu-ray even, didn't make any sense to me. So I've got the reissue, the remaster of Masters of the Universe, the live-action He-Man film. I remember this being brilliant but terrible as a kid, the couple of times that I saw it. We never had this on tape growing up, but I remember it being on like BBC reasonably regularly. And I remember, yeah, I just remember little sort of snippets about it, really. But I'm looking forward to sitting down and watching it through an adult pair of eyes. But it was only $11.99 for the DVD, and I thought, that's just fine for me, is that? So, well, as we always do, swiftly move on to some Blu-rays, starting with the one that I've literally just picked up today while I've been to go and do the shopping. You can see it's just there. Gladiator 2. I didn't catch this in the flicks. I don't get to see an awful lot at the cinema these days with having the baby. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this one at some point this week. I've got the full weekend off work this weekend, so I'm going to make some serious inroads in, and this will be one of the ones that I watch. The next film I had a bit of bother getting a hold of. HMV seemed to stop selling it for a little while locally, and I couldn't get it online, Amazon, HMV either. Managed to get it on Zavvi, and then it took about 10 days to come. But I'm looking forward to, again, when I've got the time off this week, revisiting Conclave. What an amazing film this was. This was right up my street. A sort of a political thriller, I suppose you could say, really. A religious political thriller around the election of the new Pope. Everybody in it is brilliant. You've got Ralph Fiennes, you've got John Lithgow, Stanley Tucci, Isabella Rossellini, a whole host of other people as well. It's beautifully shot, the visuals are stunning, the acting's superb. It's just literally today won the Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay, and I can completely see why, because it kept me and my mate Phil, when we went to see this in the cinema, absolutely gripped from start to finish. So really brilliant film, Conclave. Do you remember a couple of updates ago when I was saying that on one of the Blu-rays or DVDs that I was watching at the time, it had the trailers beforehand, and not something that I see as often these days, but it sold me on a few movies. Well, this was the third and final trailer that was on it, and it is Jeff Bridges and Chris Pine, amongst others, in Hell or High Water. Looks to be a bit of a thriller, a bit western-y, sort of heisty type thing, and yeah, the trailer looked absolutely fab, and the cast are all solid. Obviously, you know, really, really well-respected actors, so looking forward to watching this one soon. I also picked up The Wild Robot, heard some fantastic things, and I'm sure I'll absolutely love this, but I'm really looking forward to being able to watch this with Alexander, probably, you know, in a few months' time when he's sort of more, you know, sort of aware of, you know, animation and things like that. So I'm probably going to save this one for, you know, 6 or 12 months or whatever, while my son sort of becomes more aware of these sort of things and we can watch it together. This next one I got in a charity shop. It was 50p. I thought I already had it. Again, checked the list, and I didn't, so I picked up the Elton John biopic fantasy Rocketman. The next one, I'm so glad that this has finally been released here in the UK. For the longest time, I toyed with importing it and just kept putting it off and putting it off, because the prices to import it from either the Europe or the States was just ridiculous. But Dazzler Media have put out Last Voyage of the Demeter. Really, really good, this one as well. I would thoroughly recommend it. I don't actually remember picking this one up, you know, but obviously I must have done. I know where I got this next one. It was in the charity shop hall with the Rocketman one. It is Matt Damon in Promised Land. Matt Damon was what sort of intrigued me on this, so I'm sure I'll get around to watching it at some point. I think there must have been a deal on. There must have been, like, you know, 3 for £1 or something. I can't think otherwise why I would have picked this one up, but yeah, it's from the director of Good Will Hunting, Gus Van Sant. Obviously, it's got Matt Damon, John Krasinski, Frances McDormand in it. So, you know, solid cast, solid premise, solid production team. The next one I picked up, because it's got George Lazenby in it, it is Who Saw Her Die. I believe this is an Italian thriller film that's been put out by Shameless Films. It's a 15, contains strong violence and sex, which I'm sure is right up George Lazenby's street. But this is one of the films he did post-Bond, so interested to check that out, as I've not seen much of his post-Bond efforts. Venom 3, and yeah, we missed this one in the cinema as well, again, sort of due to baby, but to be fair, given the second one, I probably wouldn't have rushed to see it, but I wanted to complete the trilogy and have it there on my shelf, and obviously I want to support physical media as well, so I'm looking forward to watching this one soon. The next one is a double pack. I decided I would get the double pack so I could upgrade my first from DVD, and it is Smile and Smile 2. So I haven't watched Smile since the DVD came out. I've got rid of the DVD now, but we watched Smile 2 the other week, and it's bloody great. The only thing I don't really like about it is the fact that when you sort of see the thing at the end of the film, it kind of just takes you out of the moment. All the actors and actresses in it do such a great job with the creepy smiles and the really sort of offhand and eerie behaviour that if they just kept it as that the whole way through and didn't have some sort of a big reveal with a creature at the end, I genuinely think the film would be probably 10 times better than it is, and it was already a solid film, so definitely worth checking out. The next one is Paddington in Peru. It's a lovely thick case as well from Studio Canal, great slipcover. And I'm not normally bothered for these sort of things, but the presentation on this is lovely. And it's a clear case as well, which I thought was interesting. This was lovely. It wasn't quite as good as number 1 and 2. It's the weakest of the bunch, but that being said, it's still a solid 8.5, 9 out of 10 film. It tugs at the heartstrings. It's got a nice little story to it. It rounds the Paddington story off really nicely. I'm sure that they'll do more with the character and reboot and sequelize and whatever else that they've done for the probably 100 years or so that Paddington Bear's been around at this point. Maybe not quite that long, but a bloody long while. But yeah, it's really nice to see the majority of the returning cast, you know, Ben Whishaw and Hugh Bonneville, Julie Walters as well. It's I think it's Emily Mortimer that takes over from Sally Fleming, who played the mum in the first two. She does an absolutely fine job. You sort of forget that it's a different actress within 5 minutes of watching. And Olivia Colman and Antonio Banderas are quite funny as the villains. It's just tongue-in-cheek like the other ones are, and just really daft, and you can tell everybody's having a good time doing it. Really sweet. The ending had me blubbering like I don't know what. Such a soft touch these days, guys. Since I've become a dad especially, I mean, I've always been a big softie, but definitely since I've become a dad, anything that sort of tugs on the sort of the emotional heartstrings or sort of evokes themes of like family and parenthood and all that sort of stuff turns it on, and I'm gone. And then the next one is something completely different. This was bloody brilliant, and it was nice to see Hugh Grant in a role playing against type, where he's not the charming leading man. It's Heretic. Bloody brilliant horror film is this, just absolutely superb. And I think that Hugh Grant is kind of entering that sort of period of his career now where he can play characters like this and get away with being a bit seedy and get away with being a bit, you know, grimy and horrible, and it worked really well to his advantage. Absolutely fantastic, really loved it. Definitely check this out if you've not seen it. I picked this one up based on the cast. It was reduced to $7.99 in HMV, and it sounded right up my street. I picked it up when I was in there last weekend, and it is Hotel Artemis. The next one I've done a custom cover for because it was a Spanish import. Me and Laura watched this film on Amazon Prime earlier in the year now, and really enjoyed it, and got chatting to a mate of mine at work about it as well, and you know, really enjoyed this film. And then I went to go and look, and you can't get it for love nor money over here, but you can get it from Amazon Spain. So it turned up, and it's the Monster Squad. But obviously the cover's in Spanish, and some of these Spanish ones, when they come, they still maintain the English title, but this one didn't. And I was printing another cover for my copy of Harrison Ford's Witness, and so I decided I'd get this one done as well. So all I did was take the information from the Spanish Blu-ray, and then put it on the back in English, and then just put the logo on the side, so when I look at it on the shelf, it is what it says. The original artwork is just inside there, so I've got that there, so it's not like it's you know, completely custom or whatever. Not something I would normally do, but I figured because I was already getting a case cover printed off for something else that I would kind of do it while I was there. And then the last Blu-rays to show you before I show you the 4Ks that I picked up. That's a 2 Ronnie sketch, I'm sure, in the making there. Is the first 3 Hunger Games films. They were £1 in our local charity shop. And I really enjoyed re-watching these last summer when we were off on paternity and maternity leave, when baby was very young, and we, you know, Laura was recovering from the surgery and stuff, and we couldn't you know, we couldn't really get anywhere, so we watched an awful lot of films and telly, and we watched my DVDs of them, and I thought at the time, these look a bit, you know, a bit ropey on a big screen and whatever else, but didn't want to pay full price for them, so I was waiting for the opportunity to upgrade them cheap in like a CEX or whatever. But we found that literally the 3 for £1 in a charity shop, so bought them, and all I need to do now is get the 4th one, and then we're good to go. We've got the complete collection. So that is the Blu-rays, and then the only ones left to show you are the 4Ks, which if you remember the thumbnail of this video, you'll know exactly what they are. This was a very expensive week for me, but I did a little gig with the music stuff, and that paid for it, and thought, do you know what, I'll treat myself. I wasn't going to buy these originally. I had no interest in really exploring the extended universe of Star Wars, and then I went into the Obi-Wan show when they released that last year and really enjoyed it, and thought, do you know what, I'm gonna give it a go. So this first one was Ahsoka, and this kind of sort of set me off on the journey of getting the next 3, because I know that Anakin Skywalker's in this, and so really anything to do with the main sort of continuity, if you like, I'm gonna get, but like I said, the really extended universe stuff I've not been too bothered with. And then I got that and thought, oh, do you know what, I'm going to get the rest of them as well. They're releasing Book of Boba Fett later this year. So I got Mandalorian Season 3. I got Mandalorian Season 1. And I got Mandalorian Season 2. So they re-released the first 2 seasons when they put Season 3 out, which I thought was great, because I really thought I'd missed my opportunity on them, and probably wouldn't have bought Season 3 had I not been able to buy the first 3 as well. But I thought, since they were re-releasing them and I was buying Ahsoka, I'll get them, and then I might try and track down Andor on the second-hand market at some point. And then, like I say, as I understand it, Boba Fett is coming out later this year, so I'll definitely get that. And then apart from Acolyte and Skeleton Crew, I should be up to date then. But yeah, those are the 4Ks that I picked up, folks. So that has been everything that I've picked up in February, with a few stragglers from January and one title from March of 2025. Let me know down below your thoughts. Is there anything there that you'd recommend watching that I haven't got to yet? What should I be prioritising? Just get involved in the comments as usual. It's always lovely to chat to folk. Really do enjoy it. If you're new around here, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm well on my way to 1,000 subscribers now, and that was my original goal when I set this YouTube channel up 5 years ago, and it's just been a hobby for me. I've not sort of put videos out every week or whatever, but I'm so close to that now, and I would love by the end of this year to get to that 1,000 subscribers. So if you're not already subscribed and you've liked what you've seen, made it this far in the video, please drop me a subscribe, and don't forget to like the video as well. Take care of yourselves, folks, and I will see you again really soon for some more videos. Bye for now.